COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
RFK Jr. made a bit of a weird comment the other day. He was making the case for the fact he believes the virus is some kind of bioweapon, and he seemed to suggest that it targets white people and black people more so than, for example, the Chinese and Ashkenazi Jewish people. What a weird comment to make. You're asking to be regarded as an anti-Semite if you start saying things like, well, COVID doesn't seem to affect Jewish people as much as other people. And I suppose you sound a bit like a Chinaphobe. What's the word for people that don't like Chinese people? Sinophobe? Is that the word? Yes. You're sounding like a conspiracy theorist if you start to mention these things. And some people have jumped to RFK Jr.'s defence by saying he can't be an anti-Semite. He's not anti-Semitic. He supports Israel. Yes, he does support Israel. He is a strong supporter of Israel. But there are many anti-Semites who support Israel. A lot of the hard evangelical Christian right are supporting Israel just because they think it means that Jesus will come back and annihilate all the Jewish people, or while the rest of us are beamed up to heaven, or whatever it is they think is going to happen during the rapture. So some very anti-Semitic people do support Israel. I don't think that's the case here for RFK Jr. He's obviously coming from a left point of view. He's a Democrat. He's not an evangelical Christian. I assume he's Catholic like the rest of his family. So I don't think he's necessarily anti-Semitic in that way. But if you're mentioning that Ashkenazi European Jews are not as susceptible to COVID as other races, I mean, you're asking to be regarded as an anti-Semite. And anti-Semites do come out of the woodwork during times like this. The Jews, unfortunately, are always a convenient minority to blame for a lot of problems in the world, and facts like, for example, Albert Bourla, the CEO, I think, of Pfizer, who is a Jewish man from Greece. The fact that he's Jewish, the fact that Pfizer made a lot of money from creating the vaccine, can lead a lot of conspiracy theorists to jump many guns, jump many conclusions and say, ooh, Jewish conspiracy. So for RFK Jr. to mention something like that, it was a little bit weird. It might sound like a dog whistle to some people. And I normally totally avoid the topic. You may have noticed on this channel that I very rarely mention COVID or vaccines or anything like that, because you're just asking to get a strike, to be deplatformed or whatever it is. You can be silenced for quoting someone else saying the wrong thing, for documenting what other people have said. You can end up being done for medical misinformation. So I just tend to avoid it. But I thought I'd touch upon it, seeing as RFK Jr. is trying to run for president. And it's interesting, the two ethnic groups that he mentioned, Chinese and Ashkenazi Jews. If you're one of those people that likes to study IQ, intelligence, and I know in the very controversial book, The Bell Curve, I haven't read it, but people that have tell me that this book was suggesting that Ashkenazi Jews and Eastern Asians are naturally the most intelligent. They score the highest on IQ tests on average. Whatever IQ tests measure, I don't know. Does that make them genetically more intelligent, or is it to do with their upbringing and their environment? I don't know. We don't know. But the people who believe in IQ tests will tell you that on average, Ashkenazi Jews and East Asians, including Chinese people, they come top of the league when it comes to measuring intelligence quotient. I believe that's what IQ stands for. So maybe this is an intelligent thing. Maybe more intelligent people are more likely to be hygienic, wash their hands, avoid people whom already have symptoms. Maybe this just comes down to intelligence. Yet again, it's very dodgy ground to be talking about intelligence and ethnicity. But my point is that intelligence within certain ethnic groups might be a social thing rather than a genetic thing. Not everything is genetic, you know. Much of who we are, what we are, is a product of our environment. And I think that is more likely to be your answer, RFK Jr., rather than some kind of genetic weapon. But who knows? Maybe the lab leak theory is true. And if it's a weapon created by China, then maybe you could understand why it wouldn't target Chinese people. Why has he thrown Jewish people in there? I don't know. And he also mentioned Finnish people, people from Finland, the Finns, who are an ethnic group from Northern Europe. I'm not sure where they come on the IQ chart. Haven't studied it myself, but it would be interesting to note. The other thing about mentioning vaccines and the virus and vaccination rate, maybe these people whom the virus doesn't target get vaccinated at a higher rate. I don't know. You'd have to ask them, and that's their medical information. But the other thing about mentioning the virus and the all that goes with it, I'm noticing a lot of videos now saying things that a year ago, 18 months ago, you could not say. Things that would have got you struck off back then are absolutely fine now, including the lab leak theory that used to be a conspiracy theory, and including some of the criticism of the jabs that were rolled out to deal with the virus. So things have changed, the goalposts have moved, and YouTube is not censoring as much as it used to. A channel that springs to mind, London Real. If you ever watch London Real with Brian Rose, I'm Brian Rose. Today my guest is, or whatever it is he says. He has been playing almost on a constant loop live stream premieres of Alex Jones videos. I thought I was watching InfoWars and Alex Jones, but Brian Rose and London Real are just reeling off Alex Jones material. Alex Jones, of course, is a nutjob conspiracy theorist of the finest order. He believes in all the conspiracies, pretty much. But he seems to be free to spout that at the moment. Whereas, as I say, 18 months ago, there would have been strikes, there would have been videos and channels pulled down for saying things like, "They're turning the freaking frogs gay." That's my best Alex Jones impression. So let me know what you think. Is RFK Jr. a raging anti-Semite, or was he just pointing something out that coincidentally made him look like one? Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you for watching.